And so let's now turn our attention from Tamil Nadu to the other election-bound state, which is West Bengal. And as the nation gears up to celebrate Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose 125th birth anniversary, which is tomorrow, a fresh row has erupted between BJP and TMC, obviously trying to appropriate the legacy of the freedom fighter from West Bengal. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, in an official letter, has rejected Centre's proposal to celebrate Subhash Chandra Bose's birthday as Parakram Diwas. Yes, so the Centre and the BJP is going to be observing 23rd of January as Parakram Diwas in the light of the fact that it is the birth anniversary of Netaji. But on the other hand, the TMC wants a completely different name. They want to call it the Deshnayak Diwas. So that's what the TMC wants. In fact, we're told that many of the family members of Subhash Chandra Bose also want that. But essentially, it's a fight over his legacy. Tomorrow, Prime Minister will be visiting Kolkata to celebrate birth anniversary. And of course, there's going to be huge amount of action coming in from West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee will hold rallies. There is this grand event as Prime Minister reaches there. We'll wait and watch. But tonight, I want to ask this question. Does it matter in terms of vote bank politics? Politically, is it advantageous? And who will win this fight for appropriation of Netaji's legacy? TMC or the BJP? Not the first one, by the way. We saw a similar one over Vivekananda and, of course, over Rabindranath Tagore. But the one which is hottest right now is that over Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Without wasting any more time, let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us on this conversation. Here, Rju Dutta, member of the TMC, Priyanka Tibrewal, leader of the West Bengal BJP team, Rajat Roy, political analyst, and Anuj Thar, author of The Conundrum of Subhash Bose's Life After Death. And your Prime Minister is dead. Great to have all of you with us. Let me actually start off by asking Anuj this question. Anuj, can any one political party really claim ownership over this legacy?
Thank you for having me here. Well, I am mighty pleased with the developments. We have been, working for past many years to see that Netaji gets his due. So first of all, I'm a student of political science, so I'm very happy that political parties are talking about Netaji. So I welcome this entire process. Netaji must become politically active. Don't forget, when we were young, Sardar Patel and Baba Saheb Ambedkar were not getting their due. So their legacy was not, recognized by the government of India and, of course, people of the country because of the political reasons. Now, thankfully, because of the efforts made by the followers of Baba Saheb and Sardar Patel, now, thankfully, we have their legacies, recognized in a proper way. I hope and I think that this is the same thing should happen to Netaji, and this is a very good start. We are discussing his birth anniversary in a grand way by the both central government as well as the state government. So I entirely welcome and I'm pretty pleased. Netaji belongs to everybody. So TMC and BJP are both justified in talking about him. But coming to the specific, the point, I agree with both of them in one way, but some other points I don't agree. First of all, the nomenclature, again, we can discuss later on. For example, why I personally would think Deshnayak is better because that's what Tagore called him. But I think the moot point here is the holiday. There has to be a holiday on Netaji's, birth anniversary. Without the holiday, it would mean nothing. So that's number one. Number two, the reason why are we talking about Subhash Bose, why he is a Deshnayak to the country, or he's like, he's so important. In last couple of years, this huge, so to speak, huge data has become available, information has become available by way of declassified intelligence records, statements by people who were privy to what was happening in India in those days and so on and so forth. And this pool of information which has become available in last couple of years has made it very, very, very clear to all of us that India's becoming free had to do with Subhash Chandra Bose. The whole idea of, if you sit on a dharna and do ahimsa, and you think the British would, cede the ground and they'll go away is a fiction. It's a myth. I very much doubt if sitting on a dharna will compel the government of India to withdraw an act of parliament. They will not do so. Don't forget, R.M. Shamila was sitting on a dharna for 20 years. The government of India did not change that law that she was wanted to be repealed. So this is very well known. So Netaji must be recognized as India's liberator. That's number one. But what I find that both the TMC and the BJP are very careful in projecting Netaji as somebody who was much under Mahatma Gandhi. Essentially, both of them are, I classify them as Gandhi Bhakts party. They are essentially devoted to Mahatma Gandhi in one way or the other. I am in Calcutta, I am from Delhi. I land here, I see on the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose airport, a Gandhi gallery. So with that in mind, yes, I'm very happy on certain way they are giving tribute to Netaji, but it is not what we expected. You compare to what they did for Mahatma Gandhi, 150 crore was spent on Netaji's peanuts compared to that thing. The programs happen across the world. Here you have, I don't know why they have not included chief minister from other state.
Yeah.
Why only chief minister of the East India? Netaji belonged to Delhi also. He belonged to Punjab. And if you go by provinces, well, the largest number of people who were part of his government and his movement in Southeast Asia were Punjabis and Tamilians. Why not the chief minister of Tamil Nadu? Netaji's statues are there. They're like Marina Beach and Chennai. I keep
Well,
going
I did
all over
see,
the country.
I'll give you an answer to that, Anuj. Definitely in Tamil Nadu, there is a bit of buzz about Netaji there as well. I would say the answer is, well, it depends on which states are headed for elections. And right now it's West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. But of course, for TMC, it can't be a 50-year-old thing. But how has it been in the last few, last 2 decades? That's the big question that we will have to understand. Is the fact that Mamata Banerjee is doing a march for the first time tomorrow? Or is it something that they've always been doing, Rju Dutta?
Well, I would say in the defense
are we
of both,
discovering love for Netaji now
I
to
would,
show to the
Tanvi,
people,
Tanvi, I would
suddenly
say,
renaming railway stations, holding rallies and special events?
Tanvi, I would say one thing, without becoming cynical. Just 2 things I'm got.
Anuj, I'll come back to you in just a bit. Let me just bring in our other panelists. I'll come back to you. Yeah.
First of all, good evening, Tanvi. Good evening to everyone. See, Netaji is very clearly, I'm stating, is the bravest son this country has ever seen. He is not limited to Bengal. He's a global icon and definitely a national icon. Now, when it comes to appropriating our icons or giving them the due respect, let me give you some statements. Mamata Banerjee was the first head of state who declassified Netaji's files, and then subsequently the next year, Narendra Modi ji declassified a few files on Netaji. But post that, from 2014, Subhash Nala is held in Bengal. We do not need to show our respect to our icons before our elections for political mileage. We are respecting our idols on 365 days a year. Just because it is elections in Bengal, our honorable Prime Minister just naming a particular building after Netaji, how does it matter? Does it relate to the emotions of the people of Bengal? If you really respect Netaji, then 2 years ago, our honorable Prime Minister, why did he come to Calcutta and rename the Calcutta Port Trust, which was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Port Trust, to Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port Trust? Was it not disrespect for Netaji? And if you still want to relate to the people of Bengal and get political mileage, why don't you declare Netaji's birth anniversary as a holiday? Why didn't you consult with Netaji's family and declare it instead of Parakram Diwas? Why didn't you declare it Deshnayak Diwas? Netaji is a Deshnayak. And last but not the least, I will go one step ahead and I say that if our honorable Prime Minister had the true respect of Netaji in his heart, and not just because of political mileage, why doesn't he award him with Bharat Ratna? Or does he not think that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is fit for Bharat Ratna? That is my question on this debate.
No, they'll do that also. Just give them some more time. Of course, they will do that. Priyanka Tibrewal, good evening to you. I want to first begin by asking this question. Priyanka Tibrewal, I am told that Netaji was also called Deshnayak.
Yes, I can hear you.
Is also called Deshnayak in West Bengal. Wouldn't that be a more appropriate word to use to commemorate his birth anniversary?
This was never a battle of a name, I'm telling you. See, those who are accusing us of appropriating the Bengali icons, this is what they have said. So let me remind them that Netaji was a national icon. So those who think that they can keep Vivekananda ji, they can keep Thakur, Rabindra Thakur, and they can control Netaji as only to be somebody from Bengal, then they are absolutely wrong in this case, because these are national icons. Now let me also say that those of the people of TMC, those who are talking and questioning so much, why were they quiet for all these years? They never spoke anything, and just because the election is here, so now they want to walk with the picture of Rabindranath Tagore in their hand, and they want to have these hoardings all over around the city. I mean, why? How can you even do that? With Netaji's picture, Mamata Banerjee's picture all over around the city. With Vivekanandaji's pictures, Abhishek Banerjee's picture bigger than Vivekanandaji's picture all around West Bengal. Now what is this? This is the politics which they are doing. This is the politics which they are playing. If you really think that you are somewhere, you respect Netaji, then you should follow his ideology. And what was his ideology? It was never violence. The violence which TMC is doing in West Bengal. They are quiet on that, but now they are definitely upset because we are celebrating Netaji's 125th birthday. Of course, this has to be celebrated on the 125th year. We couldn't have celebrated the 125th birthday on a birthday which came 10 years back. So whatever they are talking is meaningless just because they are focusing on the elections. That is why they are talking. See,
you say name was never the issue. You say name was never the issue, but the name has become an issue to the point where Netaji's own family has written to the center saying, we would like it if you call it Deshnayak Diwas.
Exactly.
So would it not then reflect, Priyanka Tibrewal, that the BJP is not in sync with what the people of Bengal want?
If I can
no, again I am saying that you cannot just limit to say something for Netaji or just for his family, because Netaji was a national hero. So you cannot just say that what the family wants should be done or what Bengal wants should be done.
So
he
who
was
decided?
A national hero.
Who decided? I'm sorry. Was there a survey that was done across the country asking whether it should be called Parakram Diwas or Deshnayak Diwas?
To say no and go against the Congress. He had the courage.
Okay, I don't want it to be a debate about the name any which ways. I think there are bigger issues that we must talk about. Yes, Netaji must be given true recognition, true importance, not just in West Bengal but across the country, not just during election time but every other time as well. A freedom fighter who did so much for our country. Before I go across to Mr. Roy, yes, Rju wanted to respond. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to say, the BJP spokesperson here, that yes, it is correct that on 125th year, only you have to celebrate his 125th birth anniversary. Yeah. But why do you have to rename Victoria Memorial, which has no relationship with Netaji? Why does Modi ji have to come to Calcutta or West Bengal? He could have done it in Delhi itself. He could have done it in Lal Killa itself. He could have done it in Lal Killa itself. That's what I'm trying to point out.
How does it matter to you? See, they are so insecure. They feel that because the wind of BJP is blowing in West Bengal, they are so insecure that they do not even want that the Prime Minister should come to West Bengal. My God.
Viewers of Times now, you are exposed, madam.
If you are horrified, we cannot do anything about that, Rju.
What is Victoria Memorial's correlation with the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose? They have no relation at all.
He is the Prime Minister of the country and he doesn't need the permission of Trinamool Congress to travel to any part of India.
Okay. Let me go across. Let me go across to Mr. Rajat Roy. Calm down, both of you. Let's listen to each other, please. I know things are getting, really heated up in the state of West Bengal, but here on Mirada, we like to have constructive conversations where we can hear each other and really don't have a need to yell. Mr. Rajat Roy, good evening to you. Who will win this legacy war? Can any one party manage to really appropriate the legacy? Mr. Roy, I believe you may have to unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
The party which becomes more or can be more vulgar in this competition of appropriating icons, that will win this war. See, the instances are there. One was just now I heard somebody speaking about that Abhishek Banerjee's picture was larger than Netaji, and these things, posters are there. I have seen it in Shantiniketan Bolpur in the last month that Amit Shah's photo was much more bigger in proportion to Tagore, and that was there together. These things were given up when Amit Shah toured Bolpur. And on the last week of December, Prime Minister Modi addressed Vishwabharati on the beginning of this centenary year of Vishwabharati University. And that day he addressed, and of course he invoked Tagore. But for all wrong things, actually he was not did properly. He tried to pose as Tagore as a leader of nationalist. He is a nationalist person. All through his life, Tagore hated him being branded as nationalist. He questioned this nationalism, and he tried to put nationalism in its context, even going against his friends to criticize these things. And now we heard from Prime Minister that Tagore was a true nationalist. This is something, this competition is coming and becoming lower in its quality, and they are holding no bars left. They're doing everything, but they're not treating properly. They don't understand Tagore. Somebody was talking about they're treating them as recognizing them as national icon. Okay, national icon, but they don't understand these people. They don't understand Tagore. They don't understand Bose's secularist outlook. What do you make of that? All this BJP's Hindutva thing, and how do you juxtapose Bose's secularist idea and BJP's Hindutva thing? So these are the things actually needed to be, considered seriously. And I think both the parties, they're lacking in their commitment to understand and uphold these values. And in earlier also we have seen during the left regime, they used to, they used to utilize Tagore and to an extent grudgingly Netaji, but mostly they tried to, restrict these things to their own icons from Lenin, Marx and all these things. But now these people are trying to become more Bengali than Bengalis are.
But how do people of West Bengal, how will the Bengalis really view this? Not just Netaji.
The actual sentence came from his mouth. What Mr. Rajat Roy actually wanted to say is, again, a comparison of a Bengali and a non-Bengali, which came from his mouth in the last sentence. So, sir, again I said that we speak about nationalism, we speak about a nation, India. We don't speak about Bengal, we don't speak about Bihar, we don't speak about Gujarat. We stand as Indians, we stand as nationals of India.
I don't deny that I am a Bengali. I do assert that I am a Bengali first and Indian next. And
no, sir. You just again wanted to create the rift between a Bengali and a non-Bengali. You wanted to show that.
Okay, one minute, please. 1 minute. I have a question. To Rajat Roy. Rajat Roy, my question to you is, how do people of Bengal view this fight for legacy? And I'm not just now talking about Netaji. Let's also talk about Rabindranath Tagore. That was the last one before this face-off became so big. Obviously, the fight over Netaji is not new. We saw this last year when Prime Minister Modi inaugurated a Netaji museum. We saw it when the declassification of files was happening, which is what Anuj Dhar was referring to. But how do people view it? Whether it's Swami Vivekanand, Rabindranath Tagore or now Netaji, does it matter? Do they believe what BJP is saying?
It can have impact on a small section of the society. In Bengal, the entire Bengal is not actually beholden to all these icons. No matter how the middle class Bengali or elite of the societies consider these people as icons. Rabindranath, Subhash Bose, Sodhit Ray, Ravi Shankar. Go to the rural area and they hardly have heard about these people's name. And they would, for them, Mithun Chakrabarti is a greater icon. So it is not that by co-opting these leaders, you can bring entire Bengali support to your side. That is very absurd concept.
Okay. Anuj wanted to make a point earlier, when we were talking about the legacy. Go ahead, Anuj.
My point is I am not as cynical, even though I've been a journalist, but I'm not cynical as many of the panelists are. For instance, I have met Didi, I have met Modi ji, and of course, please understand, Didi has been talking about Netaji right from 1996, when the 100th year of Netaji, was observed by the government. Also, Didi, she has been raising Netaji issue off and on again. And same goes for Mr. Modi. Prime Minister Modi, when he was a Gujarat Chief Minister, he talked about Netaji. You go to Vadodara, you will find the prominent place Netaji statues there. Obviously, Modi ji was not contesting election. So let's not be that cynical. These are also human beings. And Netaji is liked by everybody across the parties. But the point which I'll keep on hammering for the sake of repetition, there are certain things which need to be done. First, you must have noted that none of the, the spokesperson for either BJP or TMC, they are evading the main point. 2-3 things have to be done. A, there has to be a holiday. They have to give reason why they cannot declare a holiday, national holiday. TMC is in favor. Didi has written about it. But BJP has not responded to it. Number 2, Netaji's role in making India free, which has become clearly visible to any researcher. The Prime Minister at least talked about it not once but twice. You have contemporary records from the intelligence side, so on and so forth. So Netaji's role as a man who was the prime mover and shaker in our freedom struggle, he was the one who led to our freedom, that has to be recognized. And number 3, the issue of his death is not settled now here. Now the entire declassification is a very complex thing. I was part of it. It started with my book in 2012. We were enrolled in the RTI. We were the ones, who met the Prime Minister. The Bose family that you're alluding to was essentially a Jyoti Basu fan club in those days. And the family, it's also a mistake to see Netaji from the eyes of his family members. Some of them have been aligned to Congress party, others have been aligned to, let's say, the TMC, etc. So they have their own ways of looking at Netaji and so on and so forth. Anyhow, but the issue of death has to be settled. And for example, declassification, this is one point I would like the TMC to go hammer and tongs against the BJP. They have consistently misled the country by telling lies in parliament. So they have been saying we have declassified all the files. This is not a small thing. You are making these statements in parliament on the floor of the house, whereas the real truth is you have not touched even a single IB file. From the day one, we have been saying this entire issue of Subhash Bose's death is in the remit of the IB intelligence, and you must release these files. So not only they have not given any reason why they're not doing it, they are telling lies and lies again and again that we have released all the files. That's something, if I were an MP, I would probably move a privilege motion against them. So these issues need to be settled, and I would urge the TMC and the BJP spokesperson to reflect on the point that India became free because of Netaji. This is something which has been hidden from us. And now you go anywhere, whichever part of the country, especially talk to the young people in universities where I go and give lectures, people agree with that thing. In fact, you have clear records about it.
Yeah.
But I find these parties are not willing to concede, because as I said, please be very clear about them. I have met all of them. They are essentially Gandhi Bhakt. This party they will never, that's why to, beat about the bush. Subhash was a brave person. He was a big leader. I'm sorry, I'm from Delhi. There are a lot of big leaders in Delhi. So you have to have, very clear idea of what Netaji stood for and so on and so forth.
Let me get Rju to first talk about it, and then Priyanka can respond.
Yes. I will just answer Anuj's question. I agree with most of the things that he said, but when he said that, that the BJP has not declassified all the files, it is true. And that is why, Anuj, I don't know you know it or not, couple of days ago, our Honorable MP, Subhash Roy, he wrote to the Prime Minister and urging him to declassify all the remaining files regarding Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And
in that letter, let me tell you, in the letter, he mentioned to a fellow called Chandrachud Ghosh, my friend, he's in the other room right now with me. We are together here. So he's referring to us. I know Sukhendu Babu very well, by the way.
Yes.
So he referred to one of us. He referred to my group. He referred to Chandrachud Ghosh. He's sitting in the other room. You can also have him in the program if you want.
That is what I'm saying. So the TMC is always there. TMC, like
yes.
pointed out from 19.
Okay, so Priyanka Tibrewal has to answer this question, irrespective of whether TMC raises it or not. They should, if they claim to be so concerned about Netaji's legacy. But why are we not declassifying more files? What's the hitch? And claiming that we have declassified all the files, as Anuj says.
See, it is not the TMC whom we have to answer about this declassification. It is the nation for whom we have to answer to the nation that yes, we have been doing, and there is a certain process of doing it, and the TMC cannot ask us questions on that. There is a certain process of doing it. There are other nations involved. There are certain issues which are there, and I completely understand that TMC doesn't have the mind to understand the same, because TMC, we can accuse the TMC as well as the other governments who were in power. Because they did nothing. They did nothing. In 2016, it was the Modi government who took the step. Why Mamata Banerjee did not open her mouth when Congress was in power? Why didn't she speak then? She came in 2011. What took her so long to speak?
After
See,
Modi ji
it
declassified the
is-
file, read history.
See, it actually doesn't matter. Whatever they are doing every day, whatever they are doing, we're taking names of Rabindranath Tagore or we're taking the names of Vivekanand ji or Netaji. And the entire West Bengal is watching. You are killing people, you are hanging them, doing entire violence. You are scamsters, cheating, taking funds from the center, and you are talking big. So what is your culture? The entire West Bengal is watching.
Both of you have to calm down.
You
Both of you have
cannot
to
earn
calm down.
brownie
Again, may I
points.
please remind you
cannot
both,
earn
there is no
brownie
point to
points
yell.
by taking
Rju,
Netaji's
please,
name.
1 minute. Rju Dutta, 1 minute. There is no need to yell. Let Priyanka Tibrewal make a point. And Priyanka, it's not just the TMC that's asking this question. Here is Anuj Dhar, an author who's, very well researched when it comes to Netaji. He's been an activist when it comes to bringing out more information
Right.
about Netaji's life, and he's dedicated years of his life doing that. He's asking you this question. Now answer him, please. When you say it's about this entire country and what people of this
Yes.
country want, answer him.
Yes.
Why is Modi ji not visiting Netaji's house, which is in Calcutta?
1 minute, Riju. Now I've
Yes.
asked her a
Now,
question.
if Rju
Please
Dutta
let her
will
answer
keep
that
his mouth
question.
shut, only then I will answer.
Yeah.
Because I am not answerable to him.
We are
Yes.
ready
So
to hear
apart
your
from
life.
that, I think Mr. Rajat, who just questioned on that, to him I am telling that yes, of course, there are certain issues involved in this. It is not an easy process. There are other nations also. So there is an entire procedure which has to be followed. And I think the government is working on that. We are also looking forward to the same.
Anuj, is that a
No,
satisfactory
no, that thing should come in parliament, no? Because when the minister comes in parliament, he tells a blank lie, white lie. We have declassified all the files.
Yes, of
So
course.
that's a lie. You haven't. So you should say we are working on it. We were looking into the IV files. We are talking to foreign powers, so on and so forth. But they have not stated. They have gone on
Anuj, it is
record
there.
and said.
I think. No, it is there in most of the news reports, Anuj, because while I was also studying this yesterday, I saw there are a couple of reports where it is written and the names of the nations are also written which are involved in these declassifications. There are certain things which are linked. It is all there in the reports. So I do not know what you are speaking about, but of course, certainly it is written and mentioned
then you should give me
that
time.
other files are still left to be declassified.
I explain things and people understand when I give that. To the point, you are talking about reports which are probably 2-3 years older. I'm telling you, as early as probably early this, the government has been saying on record, all files have been declassified. That's what they have in parliament over and again. What you're referring to are older reports.
Okay,
If you have not,
we will
please
take this
read
conversation
to us
forward
so that
as far
we
as the
can
declassification of the pending files is concerned. But I have one question before we start wrapping up this conversation to Rajat Roy. Mr. Roy, the other big debate that has come to the fore has been the insider-outsider debate. Mamata Banerjee is trying to make it about TMC, which represents the locals, the Bengalis, and the outsider party, the BJP, whether it comes to appropriating legacies or other issues. Does that resonate with the people, this insider-outsider debate? Is it why it is important for BJP to connect and link themselves to Netaji or Rabindranath Tagore?
Yeah, if you go by the social media, the people who are expressing them both pro and anti, these people are saying this, the insider-outsider question is they are trying to handle this thing. And it shows that people are really getting divided. Earlier it was on communal religious line, now it is getting on this insider-outsider line, that they are getting divided. So, and I could see that number of people are now coming to social media and they are expressing themselves about Netaji, about Tagore, about Vivekananda, but their expressions, their poor expressions only indicate that they have not done their homework properly to, to co-opt these icons to their liking. And that's why it is creating much more difficulties for them, starting from the Prime Minister who could not say what Tagore really had thought about nationalism. He said all things, these things which to his liking was nationalism could be. But it does not reflect actually what Tagore said.
They don't know anything about the culture of Bengal. आज आते हैं tourist गन election लड़ने. Shameful.
So if I
Then,
question about 100, if I take 110 names here who were all nationalists, I am sure they will not even know the names. They would not even know the names. See, you cannot just say that because you do not know the 100% facts about a person who was a stalwart, who was a hero of our country, not only Bengal. This is where I want to correct you, Mr. Rju Dutta, that Netaji was the son of India. He was the son of India. Now that is your problem. That is your problem. You lack nationalism. You do not consider yourself an Indian. You do not respect the nation. That is the entire problem. That is the entire problem. That is why we BJP, we stand different from you, because for us it is always nation first. For us, it is always nation first.
Okay, one at a time. I could understand what Priyanka Tibrewal was saying.
First.
I couldn't understand what Rju Dutta was trying to say. Let's just hear him out as well. Yes, Rju.
I am saying, Tanvi, the insider-outsider
Let him speak first.
Yes, I am saying that the insider-outsider thing is not about the linguistic divide. It has never been that.
Yeah.
But my question here is, when the tourist gang is coming, the election is in Bengal. When you are coming to Bengal and you are talking about Netaji, Rabindranath Tagore and other Bengali and national icons, you should learn about their culture or do some research before uttering gibberish here in front of the media. So your senior leaders have been Netaji and Rabindranath Tagore was born in Sanskritam. They are garlanding wrong statues. So why are you doing this faux pas? Do your research, learn your culture and come here. No issues. This is what the insider-outsider debate comes into question. There is nothing else in this matter. Election अगर बंगाल में है तो थोड़ा बंगाल के लिए पढ़ लीजिए, थोड़ा research कर लीजिए. Priyanka ji is doing research before appearing on TV. Why can't her senior leaders do research before coming in front of the people of Bengal? They are coming here and uttering gibberish.
That's why I keep asking the question, how much will it matter to the people of Bengal, of this insider-outsider debate that is being generated? How much will it matter to them when BJP leaders, senior leaders come in from, to West Bengal to campaign and get facts about Rabindranath Tagore's history wrong? How much will it matter when they choose a name which is not what the people of West Bengal or even the family of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose wants to observe this day? Everybody is glad that at least an icon like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is getting attention, that we are moving beyond a few names who had become the icons in our country and are also talking about others who also had a great role to play when it comes to freedom fighting or defining the way India has emerged. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose being one of them. But will this fight to co-opt his legacy, will this really yield in votes? That's another matter. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for joining us on this conversation.